Jim, a couple of other names I wanted to get to this morning. One I follow, Altice USA, cable company, about $26 billion market value. Announces a big buyback. I don't know if you saw it, $2.5 billion Dutch auction. They're going to buy back stock between $32.25 and $36, and that's right away. Tender offer, $2.5 billion worth of their shares. And again, that's the price range they're targeting. So that increases their buyback from what had been $2 billion to about $5 billion. That's a significant vote of approval there.
Well, look, I think that your reporting last week was incredible just in terms of cord cut, who's doing well. I mean, it's interesting that cable companies, the stocks are doing so well, even though we keep hearing about Roku doing so well, Trade Desk doing so well. How can they both be doing well, David?
Well, they benefit from some of the same trends, right? Broadband, that's what you measure the cable industry by, not their video ads or losses. But and Tom Rutledge pointed it out. He's like, they're actually pulling along video in a way that's having such strong broadband additions. Some people are taking the package with video, video being sort of the lagging service. Well, all right, fine. If you want to offer it to me for that, I'll take it. They were able to add, I think it was 63,000 subs at Charter last quarter. But you're right. Those stocks have performed well. Even our own parent companies come around lately. But that's more because of vaccine and what it will mean for Comcast ownership of theme parks. Being able to perhaps reopen in a more robust fashion because it is an important component overall, certainly of profitability. So Comcast stock has done well. Roku got an upgrade today, I think.
Yeah, very
like
positive.
Laura Martin, right, over at Needham, saying some very positive things. Building off of what Malone told me last week when he talked about it, and the stock, you saw what the stock did on those Malone comments.
That was amazing because a lot of people feel that Roku is overvalued. Someone on Brian Sullivan's show this morning was saying, oh, Roku way ahead of itself.
Right.
But Roku is the future.
Well, it may be, it may even be the present. You know, Malone and I talked about a lot of other things, Jim. We didn't necessarily get to all of it, including, of course, as we always do, coming back to AT&T. We follow that company quite closely. Wireless business seems to be doing quite well, but still continue questions about the success that HBO Max will have as a direct-to-consumer product in the marketplace. Maybe, I don't know, Malone, listen, years ago, remember, of course, he sold his company to AT&T, took a lot of stock. He watched it not do well at all. I point all of that out because, as you might imagine, he is somewhat negative on the future of HBO Max and AT&T. Take a listen.
HBO has always had great programmers, but whether or not the great AT&T, as big as it is still tiny at this point compared to the market cap of the guys they're competing with. And for Reed Hastings to go, decide that this is a good idea, let's go make this piece of content, is almost trivial at this point in terms of its impact on his scale, whereas it would be pretty major for HBO. So I'm afraid that the best content, the best producers will get bought away from HBO over time, and that they won't be able to achieve the scale necessary to keep up the relative quality that they've had historically. That would be my concern.
That's been a concern of his for a little bit of time here. Right now, HBO programming certainly seems to be quite strong. But, Jim, there's no shortage of people who also keep an eye, as well covered it as it is, on that dividend.
Yeah, I think that it's questionable. But I also keep hearing, David, that there might be separation, that CNN might go, that it just seems like if you work there, you've got Klar, Zucker, there's just this weird kind of tension going on, and you just want to know what's going to be spun off, David. What can be saved? What can be dropped?
It's not clear. Listen, other than DirecTV, which I've reported on previously, don't have a lot to add right now, although that continues to move. You know, the idea of selling a minority stake there. I think a lot of these other rumors are just that.
Just a parlor game?
Would they really part with CNN? Would you link it, if you were going to do it, with the Turner and TBS, with all the networks in some way, in some sort of package? Would Jeff Zucker have interest in exploring the possibility of trying to take CNN himself and talk to PE firms? Yeah, possibly. Does that mean that there's anything to it, or that AT&T actually has interest in really entertaining bids for it? No, I don't believe that's the case right now.
Well, the stock
I have
spent
some time on that.
Right? So. The stock is telling you, David, that this is one that's unsafe.
Yeah.
You don't get to 7%. There are very few 7% yielders that are safe. Now, I'm sure AT&T, there's no company that ever comes on and says, you know what, our dividend is not safe. But there is a sense of when you get 7% and you look at where the 10-year is, it's unrealistic to think that the dividend can be saved like that.
And we've talked about that in the case of AT&T. We've also talked about it in the case of ExxonMobil as well. Another stock, 9.2% yield.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.